In a forgotten village nestled in the dense forests, whispers circulated about a deadly examination known as the final trial. This exam wasn't about mere grades or rankings, it was about survival. Only the bravest souls dared to take it, drawn by promises of fortune and power for those who succeeded. But the stakes were high, one wrong answer meant certain death. Every 10 years, an ancient invitation was sent out to the village's finest young minds, calling them to the stone temple on the outskirts of town. The temple, draped in shadows and encased in myths, was said to be a gateway to a realm of darkness, where spirits watched the trial unfold. This year, 6 candidates arrived at the temple at dawn, trembling yet resolute. They knew the tales. Some were here out of pride, others for wealth, and a few simply because there was no other escape from the poverty that consumed their lives. As they entered, the great stone doors slammed shut behind them, trapping them inside. They gathered in a dimly lit chamber, where a row of dusty desks awaited. A towering figure cloaked in black appeared at the front, his face obscured by shadows. His voice was deep and cold, echoing off the stone walls as he announced the rules. Welcome to the final trial. You will each be asked a question. Answer correctly, and you may proceed. Answer incorrectly. He paused, and the room grew colder, and you will be taken. The first candidate, a young man named Tunde, was asked to step forward. The cloaked figure posed his question: if a river flows endlessly but is never full, what does it seek? Tunde swallowed hard. He thought of water, rain, tides, but none of it seemed right. It seeks nothing, he stammered, hoping his uncertainty would be overlooked. The figure merely shook his head. With a flick of his wrist, a trapdoor opened beneath Tunde, and he vanished into the darkness below. The room echoed with a distant scream that faded as quickly as it had come. The remaining candidates stared in horror, but there was no time to process. Next, a young woman named Amara was called forward. Her question was whispered, barely audible, but chilling all the same: what lives within every shadow yet flees from every light? Amara's mind raced. She thought of her own shadow, her fears, the darkness itself. Finally, she breathed out, the answer is fear. The cloaked figure paused, then nodded. She was allowed to step back. A faint relief flickered through her, though fear still gripped her heart. The candidates were questioned one by one, each facing riddles that tested not just their intellect but their understanding of human nature and the very essence of life and death. By the end, only 2 remained, Amara and a young man named Kofi. In the final round, the questions grew darker, the stakes higher. The figure turned to Kofi. What binds life yet frees the soul? What's feared in life yet brings peace in the end? Kofi's mind felt as if it would split open. He knew he couldn't get it wrong, his life hung in the balance. In a trembling voice, he whispered, "Death." The figure nodded slowly. Kofi had answered correctly. Now it was Amara's turn, the last question of the deadly trial. The cloaked figure's voice echoed through the chamber, colder than ever. What holds all, yet is nothing? What is sought by all, yet owned by none? Amara's heart thundered in her chest. She closed her eyes, thinking of the emptiness, the endless desire that plagued every soul. The answer is eternity. There was silence. Then, with a slow nod, the figure stepped back. The doors creaked open, letting in the first light of dawn. Amara and Kofi had survived the final trial. They left the temple in silence, forever changed, each bearing the weight of the answers they had given and the lives they had seen taken. In the years that followed, they would guard the secrets of the deadly exam, forever haunted by the shadows of those who never returned.